Okay, I think I think that's good. Soup. Hey there, Randy. All right. I don't know what any of these saves are. Oh no, wait, those two are my okay now. I don't know what this is, so I'm just gonna save over it. You know, I should probably unlock this just for the sake of having it on open goal. Turn that off. I guess I'll keep bad weather on. Whatever. Getting a new sketchbook soon? Hell yeah. I really wish I kept up with drawing. I used to draw a lot in high school, but kind of just stopped. My controller feels really sticky. I guess this is just kind of what happens when you don't use it in a while. I've been using my PS4 controller lately, and I went back to using the PS2 again. Guess I just haven't used it in a while. Me. Oh, Jesus. Okay, never mind. How we all doing, everyone? It's a bit late for me right now. My sleep's all fucked up, and I'm in the middle of school, so I can't have that. So I'm kind of staying up late today. So that's gonna be fun. Imagine playing this game for the first time, skipping the intro cutscene, it'd be so confusing. If you're coming off the first game, I guess, yeah. It's a really weird thing. I kind of think about this a lot when it comes to Jak 2. Like, the sudden tone shift. How sudden and jarring it is, I really think. Like, how much of a kick in the guts it is. Like, oh my god, what the fuck? I think that first time experiencing that is like really important to what this game is trying to do. But I kind of feel like the inherent, like, I hate everything about my lighting all the time. This fucking sucks. Hey Lumina. I feel like just the way video games as an art form are delivered, and like everything about that is just like, it kind of undercuts it, like that shock. So like, if you played the game back in the day, you're looking forward to Jak 2, you would probably first hear about it through ads, like either on TV or in magazines, and be like, you would see immediately, oh man, this game is way different, what the hell? So that kind of undercuts the opening. But even if that isn't the case, just looking at the box art, it's completely different from like the tone and the look of the first game, so that kind of like already gives it away a little bit. But even like barring that, let's say like you're living in the modern age and you just download an ISO, no cover art, no nothing, you don't know anything about the game, you just load it up. You still the opening is still undercut because of the title screen and how it shows you Haven City. That's like, oh great. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of it's something I've thought about quite a bit. There's some game design Jak 2 stuff I kind of want to talk about, but I think I kind of want to wait until people are here, because I want to show you some examples. But I've been thinking a lot about Jak 2's open world design lately, and like how I would go about trying to fix it. It's not easy. Citizens casually walking. Why is this dude doing flips in broad daylight? Citizens aren't allowed to do flips. Oh, wait. How much is mirror mode? 15. Okay. I'm going to turn that on once I get enough. There's enough in this level, right? 11, 12, 13. There is, but I won't be able to get one of them. Well, I can, but... I can't believe they put this one here. It's so fucked. Okay, I think I can just swim around here, right? Yeah, let's go. Nope, leave me alone. Wait, what? What? Wait, what the fuck? Wait, all this did was reverse my camera and movement controls. Hello? I don't think that's what's meant to happen. Hey there, move. Dude, what the? Why is it doing this? This isn't right. All it's done is reverse my left and right analog sticks. Why is it doing this? Wait, what if I die? Just hurry up. I hit the invisible wall. Just shoot. Oh, no, I didn't. Thank you. Dude, why isn't it working? Okay, maybe it's because I have another cheat on and it's not a proper one. Dude. I guess I don't get to play mirror mode. Thanks, game. Wait, what if I just save and load? This is bullshit. Did I break the game the moment the stream started? Yeah, let's just go with that. This is fucked. I just want to play mirror mode. I keep it just... Whatever, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Keep my bad weather. Man. Dude, fucking... What's my favorite song from this game? What is either God Pursuit theme or Dead Town? I don't really know. Jak 2's OST doesn't really stick out to me as much as 1 and 3's. Like, I love the atmosphere and the dynamic soundtrack of 2. But, like, individual tracks, they don't stick out as much to me. E3 demo, best Jak 2 track. Yeah, like I vaguely remember that one. A lot of Jak 2's soundtrack sounds kind of samey to me, which I think is kind of why it's hard for me to pick out tracks. Mountain Temple is really nice. That's a really awesome track. I really love that one. Either Haven Forest or Sewers Fortress Ambush. I do love well, it's played in a few boss fights, but the one that plays during Metalcore's fight, that one's really sick. Hey there, Boxel. Welcome. Man, it's so hard staying in frame, oh my god. I really gotta fix my lighting at some point. Oh, but man, sitting like this, like I'm in frame, but like reading chat, I have to crane my whole head over. Oh god, damn it. Is this Hero Mode Plus? No, I should probably get back to that at some point, but it's been so long since I played that on stream that I feel kind of weird just picking it back up. So I'm just playing normal Hero Mode, but I do want to collect orbs so I can unlock Mega Scrapbook just for the sake of having it. So I've figured out how to properly pirate PC games lately. In a purely hypothetical scenario. just for my own educational purposes, I've learned how to do it well. And if I was to do such a thing, which I never would, the few games that I would have already done by now in the past 2 days would be finally the Kingdom Hearts series on PC. And I was like, wait a sec, I still haven't played Rift Apart. So I thought about downloading that and installing it. So I should probably get around to playing that at some point soon. Because like my whole justification for why I haven't so far is like, well, I don't have a PS5. Oh, it's on PC. I don't want to pay money for it. like I don't care enough to pay money for it. But now that I don't have it, I still can't just like jump into it because it's like, well, fuck, I don't have a PS5 controller, and it's like, I wouldn't really be playing it properly if I didn't have a PS5 controller, you know? So I gotta pick one of those up. My cousin lives not too far from me and has a PS5. I don't know if she has multiple controllers though that I could borrow one. So I'm gonna, no. So this is how I found out Rift Apart is on PC. Wait, what? It's been on PC for like a year now. My pursuit of possibly acquiring the Kingdom Hearts games on PCs because I want to play around with mods, specifically randomizers, because I've been playing a lot of Jack 1's randomizer, and that's a lot of fun. And I think randomizers are best for games that you're already really familiar with. Which is why, like, a game I really want to play the randomizer for is Ratchet 1. That looks so much fun. I just don't have a modded PS3 yet. But like other games that I have played a fuck ton is Kingdom Hearts. So like, playing those games with the randomizer sounds like a lot of fun. The problem is, I've been doing the research in how to get that set up, and it just won't work for me for some reason. There's this like, there's this program called Lua Frontend, which like you load your mods into, and then like once the game launches, it'll auto detect the game and then apply the mods. The problem is like it just does not detect my game when it boots, which is really annoying. Do modded PS3 games work on our PS3? Well, no, it's not that you want to mod your game on PS3. You just want a modded PS3 so you can connect it to your PC. This specific Ratchet mod does not work on our PS3, which sucks because I can run that on my PC, and I'd rather just do that. But, oh well. Just gotta get another PS3 so I can mod that, because I don't want to mod my PS3 that I use. I want to keep like a clean one, you know? Ugh. Been extremely out of touch with video games since the current gen was new. That's completely fair, yeah. Work and long commutes got in the way, yeah, that's fair. Trust me, you're not missing out on much. Except Alan Wake 2, that came out, that was very good. And Hellblade 2 is coming out this year, and that looks like it's going to be great. Other than that... Did I talk about the next video I'm working on last stream? I think I did, right? Was anyone here last stream? I think I talked about it. Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3 just don't exist, obviously. Well, I haven't played them, so yeah. But you know what I have played? Jumping Flash. That game's cool. Just whatever. Hey Alex, how we doing? We deathless? I suppose, but like, it's already invalid. I like did a save load to try and fix a bug that I couldn't fix. So, Plus, I'm playing on open goal anyway. I'd only count it as deathless, like truly. Like I'd be happy with it if it was on PS2. But you know, we just play. I am on hero mode. And I was like, well, I don't have Mega Scrapbook unlocked on open goal. I might as well unlock that, so I'm going to collect orbs as well. I won't use any cheats though. Oh, yes, Schwad, if you're still here. I've been having, like... I'm trying to think of, ways to address Jak 2's, like, open world design. And how to, like, to fix it and stuff. It's just, very difficult. And I don't know if we really can to, like, a satisfactory degree. Like, there's things I want to do with it that I don't think are possible. So it's like, well, what if we just, like, did it in a new game? But it's like, well, Jak 3 doesn't have the same sort of world design, so we couldn't do it there. And I don't want to do a Jak 4, so I guess we'll just just leave it forever unfulfilled, I guess. I don't know. Your voice cuts away from me? Shit, does it? I turned off all my modifiers, I think. I am kind of just... Might be my Bluetooth. Okay. Didn't notice anything. Okay, I'm going to blame Alex's headphones. That's okay. This time. Yeah, because Jak 2 bad. We don't have enough of this. Like, being on top of buildings, you know? There's not enough verticality in Jak 2. There's not enough... There's not enough actual buildings in Jak 2. All the buildings in Jak 2 are just walls, you know? That's... yeah. I feel like there's just so much potential in terms of, like, exploration with Jak's specific mechanics that just kind of goes untapped because of, like, the inherent design of Haven City. Which, like, I get. Like, they wanted to have, like, a really detailed, like, dense environment. And the snaking hallway design was to, like, mask loading and shit. But, like, man... Ooh... As a child, being on that building felt like a cheat. Yeah. And then they just put an orb on there in Jak 3. There's like an example I want to like show on stream of like what I'm trying to like get at when it comes to like level design in the city that I kind of want to like explore. I guess I'll show it maybe after this. This is my last week in my 20s, by the way. Oh no. Well, I guess that's a matter of perspective. I'm sorry for your loss, or the opposite. Make sure you do schoolwork after this. Oh, look, I'm not like behind. I'm just not really engaging with like a ton of the supplementary readings. Like I've done the main stuff, but I probably should read the other stuff, but it's like I've been too busy researching obscure PS1 games today and yesterday. Man, I found some cool shit. This year is my last year in my 20s. I turn 30 next year. Damn. I'm 23. Whoa, I didn't mean to... Ah, whatever. Don't go out there. I'm 25 and it feels like my life's already over. I feel that. That's why I went back to school. Just to, so I can try and figure it out. I don't know. I'm never going to release this Boggy Swamp video. Oh. March 9 is my first day as 30. I'll try and remember and wish you a happy birthday, Alex. But if I don't, happy birthday. Am I streaming off PlayStation or is this open goal? This is open goal. I don't have my PS2 set up in here at the moment. It's out set up on my CRT because I was playing on that and I can't be bothered bringing it back in here. I have a new CRT. It's still on the ground. Do tell. I'm so in need of a new CRT. Like not a new one. I want another one. I don't have enough. I've only got one. And like the one I've got is huge, and I want like a small desk one in here in my bedroom because I just all I want is like a tiny CRT, like a PVM ideally. That'd be sick. But they're really expensive. So if I just got like a really small one with an S-video input, then I'd bring my PS1 in here and I could just play PS1 all the time because it's got a fucking... My PS1 has an SD card reader and it's so fucking based. Like I can even load fan translations on there and play it without a hitch. Like, oh, it's so cool. Hey. Oh, fucking... Hurry up. Thank you. Renovating part of our house, and it's going to have a gaming vibe with like D&T table and the CRT. Nice sound system. That sounds fucking sick. Yeah, I've been trying, like... Now that I my room when I was living at Kane's was like really huge and it was like so big that it was kind of uncomfortable. Like I couldn't really make it work sort of thing. And then my room at my parents' house was so fucking cramped and tiny that I couldn't do anything with it. So now I'm like, I've got like a good sized room now that I can like, oh man, I'm getting my ass kicked. Oh my God, dude. And I'm not getting 25. Great. That sucked. That sucked! So now, like, I've got, like, a decent-sized room, right? That I'm trying to, like, make it as, like, as vibey as possible, I guess. Like, I've got my turntable set up and I've got like my vinyls and everything, but my sound system is horrible and I've only just kind of recently been able to like hear just how bad it sounds because of my horrible stereo. So it's like, man, I gotta replace that, and like my speakers aren't even set up in like a good way. They're like right next to each other. So I've got to spread those out somehow. Oh man, I need health. And then I've got like well, I mean, I don't know. It's like I've got like my manga shelf back here. I've got my glass cabinets, and I want like a small like CRT in here somewhere, so I can play my PS1 on it. It's just kind of hard to like the specific furniture you kind of need to make everything work. You can't just kind of buy it because like it's kind of obscure what you kind of need. Like it's very much a if you find it and it works, hell yeah, sort of thing. Like you can't just go to IKEA and be like, oh yeah, this will be perfect, and it's expensive anyway. And same with CRTs, right? Like I can't just fucking buy a CRT. Like I need to either find one at some fucking like dump or secondhand place, or like pay someone for it on Marketplace who charges way above what they're worth, and it's like, fuck. It sucks. It really sucks, but... You know, some ports of older games have a CRT blur feature, i.e. modern Genesis collections. It'd be so cool for Open Goal to have an effect like that. Yeah, I don't think the Open Goal team would do that. And I've played around with a CRT filter on PCSX2 with Jack. It doesn't look too bad, to be honest. It doesn't look authentic though. Like, it looks good, and like it, you know, it sells the vibe. But like when you compare it with like an actual CRT, it's like, no, the CRT just looks so good. I really wish the PS4 release was this smooth. I don't have my old discs anymore. Perhaps I'll salvage local game resellers and try it Open Goal. Yeah, I mean, the PS2 copies are very cheap, which is really nice. It would suck if like, oh yeah, like you had to get your own disc to, you know, to get this to run, and the game was like $100. It's like, oh. I mean, you know, there's alternative ways to get it, but you know, officially. My childhood room was 2 by 3 meters, so yeah, cramped. So my childhood room is 3 by 3, except when I was what, like 8 or so, we installed a built-in wardrobe, which took up like a lot. This room isn't that much. I think it's actually technically like a tiny bit smaller one way. I think it's 3 point something by 2.8 or some shit. So like it's about the same size. But because I don't have that built-in wardrobe and like the location of my door, which is kind of pretty crucial, I have a lot more room, which is nice. I'm still like running up against the limits though. Like, yeah, like if you can see, I just brought my drum kit in here, my electric drum kit, because it was out in the dining area and I just was not using it. So I brought it in here and I just have it folded up in the corner there. And then when I want to use it, I'll like unfold it and set it up. So that's another thing where it's just like, oh, I'm just like taking away room, you know? It's like, oh. Bad sound sounds so bad when you know how, when you know nice sound. Yeah. It's like everything just sounds really, well, the worst thing is like I've never been able to play with the EQ. My stereo is so bad. Like the only EQ option I've really got is, do you want bass or more bass? Like that's it. Like there's just a bass boost button and it's like great. And it just yeah, it just sounds like arse. Like I know my record player sounds good and my phono preamp and stuff. Like that shit sounds good. Like I've had it hooked up to my dad's like pretty decent stereo and it sounds fucking awesome. But then I have it hooked up to mine in here and it's not like set up very well. It's like, oh, this sounds horrible. It just sounds horrible. Like, you know, listenable, but ugh. I got this CRT from my BS's grandma. Oh, BF. Well, he's also BS. She was moving out an old person's home. Oh, I see. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, that's kind of see, I got my CRT for free as well. I got it from my ex's boyfriend, which, well, I also I was going to say the best thing I got out of that relationship, but I also got her PS2, which is better than mine, so and it's the one I still like use primarily, which is nice. It's funny because like he just had this like TV sitting out in a shed for who knows how long, and he's just like to her, hey, does Zeke want this? I'm just like, yes. I wasn't really into like, you know, super authentic retro gaming or CRTs or anything like that at the time, but I was like, I had like an inkling of knowledge when it came to that sort of stuff, like, you know, like, oh yeah, like these are the old TVs and like I you know, I had them growing up, but like I was vaguely aware that like, oh yeah, like old games look better on older TVs, so I was like, yeah, why not, I'll take it. And I never really used it like at all. It was just kind of sitting in. It was just kind of sitting in her room for like forever. I never really used it. But then I really didn't use it a whole lot until like after we broke up, which is kind of funny to think about. So. Oh, damn it. If that guy was dead, that would have been the coolest thing in the world. Like the final punch, you turn the lights back on. Damn it. Now just go to IKEA so you can get that sweet IKEA cafeteria food. I've been to IKEA a couple times. I've never eaten their food because I think every time I go there, well, the one time like I went there and we like, oh, let's get some food. They were like, they closed their stuff. And every other time I've been there, it's just been like, you know, straight to business. But I also don't even know if they have any vegan stuff, so. Almost clippable, but alas, I think it was still pretty cool. Okay, just clip it before I turn around, and but then you're gonna don't get to see like the product of the carnage. Whatever. Imagine a mod of playing Jack 1's world with Jack 2 gameplay and levels having lurker foes and ecos intact. I had like a similar idea at one point. I think this idea is pretty cool. I don't want to put it in like the project that we're doing. I think it's too much work and I don't think it makes much sense. But I had a cool idea where it's like an unlockable like post-game mode in Jack 2 where it's like so like you find Samos's hut, right? But then after you beat the game or something, you can like go back there and then like I don't know, some like vision will like occur where it's like, oh, the rest of Jack 1's world like appears, like it's not physically there like in the lore, but like, oh, here's the rest of Jack 1's world, not just Samos's hut, and you can explore the whole world all over again. But it's like, it's the after effects of the Metalheads invasion, so everything is like destroyed and fucked up and everything. And you could play through all of Jack 1's like areas, but filled with Metalheads, and I thought that'd be so cool. I did like a whole podcast with like Keith and HS Blue and stuff, talking about like ideas for Jack mods if it ever got a PC port. I think this was like when OpenGoal was like, I think it was already being worked on, but it wasn't like a public thing. I just had like deep insider knowledge that it was like a potential thing in the future. But like our ideas were just like, yeah, let's go nuts, like whatever cool idea. I thought that was a pretty cool one. My childhood room is smaller than it could have been because the ages of like 4 to 8, I had a camping tent inside my room. Well, like set up? Like why? About bass, I just got my first professional bass amp and speaker. Hell yeah. Like bass for like playing bass guitar or like a dedicated subwoofer for like listening to music. Playing bass? Hell yeah. Nice. Hey there, Mish. My night is going. Well, it's gonna be running late. I'm not sleeping today. Fuck my life. But welcome. How you doing? $500 amp bass head, 2000 watt speaker cabinet with 4 woofers and a tweaker. Hell yeah. I really want to get a new guitar. Mine kind of sucks, like really bad. And I mean, I could get it serviced, but I want a new guitar anyway. What do you want? Fucking Reddit. I think someone is about to say to me on Reddit that the Ratchet and Clank loading screens are pretty much identical to how Jack 2 handles loading screens. I think that might be what that comment is, judging from like the 3 words I saw in the conversation I was in. That's wrong. That's not true. Do you wish, like I did, the Jack 4 would be Jack time traveling back in time and becoming OG bar? Not in the slightest. No. I've had many ideas for Jack 4. I've had many hopes for Jack 4 over the years, many different and conflicting ones. No, there was at least one where I thought about the Ma stuff. I don't know. I don't know, like, I'm so excited for what we're doing for Jack 3 that, like, any thoughts of Jack 4, whether it be fan game or fan fiction or potential future real game, none of that really interests me. I'm just so excited for Jack 3. I don't know. Like, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, but looking back, that was cringe. Well, having a tent in your... Dude, you were 8! What? Oh, man, I was so cringe when I was 4 to 8. Dude, get over yourself. Oh my god. Nah, that shit is so cool. Alright? Fuck. Man, what did I think was cool when I was 8? I mean, I don't remember much of being a kid, so I don't know. Look, you can cringe at your younger self, like at your child self, when you're 14 and trying to be cool, okay? Not when you're in your 20s. You own that shit. Nah, that was cool when I was 8, and I liked that thing. Your 20s are for cringing at what you thought was cool when you were 16. Like Linkin Park. Which I, the arbiter of good taste, was never into. Thank you very much. Honestly, I can't remember why. I think I just tried to set it up in my room one day. My dad saw it and helped me out. Instead of questioning my sanity, but basically lived in that tent for 4 or 5 years. Jesus. The ruined TPL world in 2 sounds like a fun idea for a standalone expansion. Yeah, I think so too. But not like Infamous First Light, because Infamous First Light was like canon. Just like... I mean, I don't know how canon The Last of Us like rogue like mode is, but something like that, you know, just like a cool gameplay expansion with no like story significance. Also, I've got the gay jet board. Whoa. Yeah, you better be cringe. Explore your surroundings at 8. Yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like being embarrassed, like, oh man, I was so cringe when I was 8 years old. It's like, come off yourself. Like, oh my god. Yeah, oh man, this is such a weird memory, but I remember when I was 8. And I remember I was 8 specifically because of the class I was in. That's how I remember how old I was with certain memories, what classroom or teacher I had. But yeah, I was 8, and I remember I brought a teddy bear to school. I can't remember what specifically one it was. I have a feeling I might know which one, but I don't think I was the only one. I think a friend did as well, and that's maybe why I did. Oh, I got bronze. I should probably go for more. But I remember so I was 8, and then a guy I vaguely knew, I didn't like him. We weren't friends, but I knew who he was and stuff. Who was a year older than me, was from the class across the room, because our classroom was connected to the classroom right next to us. There was no wall. It was just a massive room split in two, essentially. He looked over and gave me shit for it. It's man, I don't have teddies anymore. I'm a big boy. I just remember that for some reason. I'm just okay. So that's who you are, Yeshwan, for making fun of your 8-year-old self. You are that cringe kid from across the class. Kill the cringe kid across the class within you. Embrace what you thought was cool when you were 8. Same repressed gay memories. I remember nothing before 18. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of high school I wish I didn't remember, but there's also a lot of high school I just don't remember. And it gets even hazier the younger it gets. I don't know. I didn't have a particularly bad childhood. I mean, high school wasn't great, but... People call Linkin Park dad rock now. See, I mean, the term dad rock, I guess, is very much tight, a generational thing. But when I think dad rock, I think Led Zeppelin, you know? I don't know, there's still 20-year-olds who listen to Linkin Park and think it's cool. I don't know. I don't think it's there yet. Hey, Soitsu. Had a TV and PS2 in there and all my toys, so I basically just lived in there until my parents started to get concerned, which didn't happen for quite some time. I literally lived there. Dude, that's so sick. I wish I had that. I'd make pillow forts with I'd bring dining room chairs into my bedroom and drape blankets and stuff over it, so I had a little cave. But I'd have to pack it away, and that wasn't fun. Man, you were living the life there, man. Jesus. Oh, I should go get Dark Jack. Not so subtly calling. Subtly? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm going right for the throat directly at you, which is, and I'm kind of surprised that you've barely even you just keep explaining yourself instead of defending yourself or being no, you're right. It's just keep explaining the story to me. I'm making fun of how you're acting, and that's all you got. Just keep telling me more. Okay. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I don't know. I did a presentation about Lego Bionicle when I was 14. I was not popular. That's so good though. Oh my god. Man, did I even do a presentation at all in high school? I think I did. Only to my teacher, because when we were supposed to do it to the whole class, I wasn't there. I think it was a book report. I don't know. I didn't put any thought into it. What would I have done it on at 14? Every single assignment of mine at 13, when I had the choice to when I had the choice of topic, it was always The Doors. That was my obsession when I was 13. At 14, what was I into at 14? Skipping school, smoking weed, and punk rock. So, hey there, Miss Gamer. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was more of a show and tell. It was more of a show and tell kind of thing, I suppose. That's fair. you were a cool 14-year-old. I would not dare approach you. I had 2 friends though, and those were the guys I was skipping school with. So I don't know how cool I was. There's this one photo of me at 16 where I think I look pretty cool, and I don't know if I have it anymore. But we were sitting out on the Oval. Me and some mates. We were in our music production class, and we were setting up the PA because it was sports day, and we were in charge of the sound system, and we were setting it up like I think as a practice, like a few days beforehand. And I was a cool kid. I used to just go to school without a school uniform, and I was wearing my Heartaches long sleeve glow in the dark pizza pentagram shirt. It was so based. I love that shirt. And I was wearing aviators, and I had a bunch of XLR cords just draped all over me, and I was doing the Vape Nation sign when H3H3 Productions was still relevant. That was a cool photo in like a, ironic way. I don't know. Yeah, let's stop talking about my high school. Am I using PCSX2? No, this is OpenGoal. No, you're right. I should obviously set up the tent all over again. Yeah, obviously. I did a presentation on Bosso Zokas, Japanese motorcycle hooligans, at the final exams of high school. That's pretty cool. Speaking of, I haven't done my let's study together. Whoa, I haven't done my Japanese today. I was doing Japanese last year. I did a semester of it and then dropped semester 2, and I'm picking it up again next semester. But in the meantime, I got to relearn everything because I've forgotten it all, and I have been pretty consistent. I've been doing it every night. So let's do it together. I've got 15 words to go through. Hon is book. Shitsumon is answer. No, it's question. Oh, I knew it. Fuck. It's question. Meishi is business card. Kotae is answer. Yep. Shinbun is newspaper. Zashi is magazine. Techo is personal organizer. Shitsumon is question. Shitsumon is question. Okay. There's that. And then we do the reverse. Bag briefcase is kaban. Yep. Magazine is zashi. China is... Oh, fuck. What is it? It's chugoku. Yeah. Let's finish is owarimashou. Yep. Let's take a break is yasumimashou. Answer is kotae. Question is shitsumon. I am from country is kara kimashita. Let's go. Okay, cool. We can continue. Business card culture is crazy. Business culture in general in Japan is fucked. I'm from America. I am from Australia. I hate America. I hate Australia. Where am I going? Vin. I'm walk my dog and make dinner. All right, Alex. Like a good almost 30-year-old. All right, have fun, Alex. See you later. That could have been cooler. I feel like I had... Oh yeah, I do have things to talk about. I have books. I've been reading a lot. So, yeah, remember a few streams ago when I showed 20 books that I picked up? And it was all just, oh yeah, I picked this one up. I haven't read it because I just picked it up. and the cover looked funny, so I picked it up. Well, I've read some. and I'm taking English literature, so I've got to read. So that's fun. I guess I can talk about some. Is this Deathless? Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I'm kind of just playing. Like, you know, we'll go as long as we can for Deathless, but I am playing on hero mode, and I do want to collect orbs so I can unlock Mega Scrapbook just for the sake of it, but we're just chilling. Have this game on PS2 and PS4. PS4 is the best version. Hard disagree. PS4 is awful. You know, I actually booted up the PS4 versions not a few days ago. It's the first time I booted them up in like a couple years probably at this point. Oh my god, it's so bad. Oh my god. Like, Jack 3 is so busted. Like, holy shit. Man, that was so bad. Just like the worst like frame pacing and frame drops, just like Jesus. Hey Frange, how we doing? Blah. Cool. The PS4 version of the Jack game is the ones you played because you're too lazy to plug in the PS2 or 3? Pretty much, yeah. On PS3 and PS5, they are way better. PS3 is better. Now, I just had my sister play through the first game on PS3. And I'm yet to do like extensive testing, but like holy shit, it had the worst input delay. I don't know exactly what the reason is. The home menu didn't have an input delay. I don't recall the game having input delay, so I'm yet to test it. I think it might have been the TV, but it's kind of weird, so I'm not sure what that issue is exactly. I did some like further digging. Apparently, like the majority of the PS3's library has just like horrible input delay, and I don't know if that's, I don't know how accurate that is. It might just be like what display you're using. I really have no idea. But PS3 is like by and large a good port. From what I heard about PS5, it runs Jack 2 and 3 better than PS4, but Jack 1 runs worse on PS5 compared to PS4. But either way, like they're still pretty horrible ports, like audio crackling issues and limited directional inputs, and it's yeesh. Oh yeah, you say on PS4 it's 1080p. True, but you know what? So like the emulator is spitting out a 1080p image, but the internal resolution is 480i. Like oh my god, like oh man, like they didn't even put on progressive scan. It looks so bad. It just like comparing it to PS3 even, which runs at 720p, like it just looks so much muddier, like a lot less sharp too. What kind of music does Crew listen to? Ask Martian, he's the expert. Jack 1 runs worse. How the fuck? I don't know. I don't have a PS5 to personally test, but I'm basing that off of HS Blue's assessment. And you know, he's a speedrunner, so I trust his word. Jack 2 is way better than the school work in person. True. Well, to be honest, like I've been enjoying school so far. I've only had a week this semester. Like this semester, I've only been going a week so far. But it's been not bad actually. It's it's my first time doing in-person lectures, which I thought would be like really annoying because like there's just more time having to spend on campus. But honestly, I kind of prefer in person to watching them online, because when they're online, I just kind of put them on ×2 speed and don't absorb any information. Whereas like in person, it's like, well, they're speaking at a normal human speed, and they're like right in front of me, and they don't have like horrible audio because no one knows how to record good audio, I guess. And like I decided to actually like take notes and stuff, so I don't know, in-person lectures have been pretty fun actually. Really nice just to be, it's actually kind of nice just listening to someone who knows a lot of what they're talking about, just talk about the thing that you're interested in. So that's kind of cool. Hey Lord Sausage, how we doing? Fine, I guess. Well, it's better than not fine. Oh, why is it so loud? Boop. Okay. Problem with online classes is that it's too easy to get distracted. That's exactly my problem too. It's like, well, I'm at my computer and I can do cool things at my computer that isn't watching this horribly recorded lecture. It's like, oh, and this is work. I'm at my computer. I don't want to work, you know, like. In my freshman year of uni during COVID, I kind of played modded Skyrim during the Zoom meetings, so I think that says everything. Yeah. What am I in school for? I'm doing a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in Japanese, but I'm not doing it at the moment because I took a break last semester. So I'm picking Japanese back up next semester. This semester I'm doing Intro to English Literature, Intro to Film Studies, and 3D imaging, so I can learn how to use Blender and be like useful when we do our Jack mods. So that's gonna be fun. Haven't been in school since 2019. Yeah, I finished high school in 2018, and then didn't do anything for like a few years, and then I came back because like, well, gotta do something with my life. School sounds cool, I guess. I like learning. Japanese sounds like a cool thing to learn. Japanese is really hard. I should probably add some more words to my Anki tonight. I'm 23, yeah, me too. Oh my god, just leave me alone. Cool. I saw someone... I saw someone packing a bunch of potato chip bags, dumping the insides in a bowl, and smashing them plus adding water to make a mass, then flatten that mass, putting it in an oven. He did a giant potato chip. That's great. Thank you for sharing with the class. The other day I was looking for things about Jak 2 and 3 and I decided look up how many people hated them. I was quite surprised with the amount. I know there were people who hated the change between Jak 1 and 2, but I didn't know it was so much. Yeah, and I feel like over the years it's kind of been more pronounced. I don't know, I find a lot more people will be like, man, I just really liked that first game and then 2 was like really, really dumb. It's like, I don't know, kind of sucks. Like I have had those moments where it's like, man, would I like Jak 2 if I played it for the first time now? And a part of me says probably not, but like, I don't know at the same time. Like, the kinds of games that I've gravitated towards recently, Jak 2 doesn't really fit that sort of criteria a lot, but at the same time, like, it does in other ways. So I really don't know. It's very much a game where it's like, if it doesn't grab you at first, like for me, I've only had more fun with this game the more times I've played it. So if it doesn't grab you at first, like, you know, maybe it's like, oh, needs like a second or third playthrough to really get it. But, you know, that's a big ask for a lot of people. So, you know. PS3 and PS4 versions may have made people hate Jak 2 and 3. I mean, maybe. Like, I've seen videos of people playing through the games for the first time. There was one in particular, someone was like documenting their playthrough of Jak 1, and they were stuck on the claw boss fight. And a big thing they were complaining about was, oh, the camera is so bad because, like, I can't see where the boulders are going when he shoots them. And it's like, I hate that these are the versions that people are playing because, like, by default, those, like, the PS4, PS5 versions and the PS3 version, you can't change it on PS3. They're locked to 16:9, and the 16:9 in Jak is shit. It just cuts off the top and bottom of the screen. So if you're playing a 4:3, like, this person wouldn't have had that issue. Like, they'd be able to see properly. And I hate that, like, you know, like the most accessible way to play these games for like first timers. Which, you know, there's still a lot of people like first timers to these games. Like, people pick up these games that haven't played them before because it's like, oh, that's a classic and people talk about it. I should probably play it. And they've got the worst fucking versions available. So it's like, ugh. Like, I am glad open goal is a thing now. So like, if you're more like, I guess if you're more of a gamer and you're willing to like go outside of just, oh, is it available on modern consoles? Then you play open goal, I guess, but I don't know. Even then, I don't think open goal is a perfect way to play it for the first time. But that's just me. So far I know how to read hiragana. Kanji's gonna get hard. Yeah, I did know a few kanji when I was in the midst of studying. I didn't learn a whole lot though. I was class of 2020, so that meant RIP graduation and RIP prom because COVID, Lamau. None of my friends really cared, and neither did I. Prom... What do we call it again? Fuck, I don't remember what we call it. We call it something different here, and I don't remember what we call it. But anyway, I had it for year 11 and year 12, and I didn't go to either of them. I never really cared. Formal, that's it, yeah. Xenobyte, how we doing? Do you think the PS4 ports have done more harm or good? Oh man, I don't know. Look, it's an accessible way for people to play the games, so people can play them. Like, it's not like the Ratchet trilogy where it's just stuck on consoles no one has anymore. And like I see so many like people on Reddit, like in the Jack subreddit, where it's just like, oh, I never had any issues with the PS4 ports. People are over exaggerating. And it's like, well, you know, some people just aren't as like perceptive to things like frame rate and lag and shit like that. So maybe, who knows, maybe it's fine. You know, maybe they have done more good than harm just by virtue of introducing people, like giving newcomers like a way to access them, I guess. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I fucking they're sorry, they're not even Japanese people know that many. At least that's what my Japanese friend told me. Like, there's like thousands of kanji, but like, I think if you know like maybe a few hundred to 1,000, you can get by. And even if you don't know like a lot of kanji, like a lot of times like they'll have furiyana, which is like the kana right next to the, like, its smaller version of the kana right next to the kanji, so you know how to sound it out. Yeah, like 7,000. So, you know, it's like, yeah. Here in America, we've got the biggest conservators, like the Megamind Charlie Kirk. Yeah, that's not exclusive to America, unfortunately, but that's kind of the... America's kind of where all the fucking dipshit right-wingers take their talking points from. Like, yeah, I don't know. Then again, we've got our own special brand of Australian racism here, so that's nice. You can change the aspect ratio on PS3 through the system settings. For the in-game aspect ratio, though, I know you can for like the PS3 itself, but like, wouldn't that just stretch the image back to 4:3 without addressing the cropping? Or am I wrong there? Ooh, speed boost. Some have native 3:4, others just have black bars. That might have answered my question. Maybe I should have just kept reading. I don't know. Giant racist spiders? Absolutely. They're horrible. Also, Charlie Kirk thinks that I get sexually aroused by wearing female clothes. Yeah, it's really gross. Just ignore them, I guess. Well, I mean, like, you know, you should fight back against that shit, but, like, societally, but... For your own good, it's just best to ignore fuckheads like that. Man, I'm like really slow reading. Oh, they should make open goal for Xbox 360. Yeah, sure. With how hard it is to hack 360, I don't think it'll happen. Probably not. That was a joke, sausage. You're a joke, sausage. Do. With 2,000, you should be fine. Yeah. I say good because they gave us oh yeah, well the PS4 ports, they gave us the cool collector's editions, but honestly, fuck limited run games. So I mean, like, they're cool to own, and we did get the design Bibles, so that's nice. But you know, love the hair. If you don't mind me saying, thank you, I appreciate that. Where am I going? I never go this way. Still never got my Jack 1 design Bible. Fuck limited run. Yeah, like... limited run sucks. Like, not just, like... Okay, there's obviously, like, how they run their business is, like, really fucking stupid. Like, oh yeah, we'll announce, like, this collector's edition, and then we'll ship it a year later because we've got to, like, manufacture it and everything. Like, why not just, like we won't even start manufacturing until after we've sold, like, all the copies, like, through our store or whatever. Like, right there is my Here Comes Nico Collector's Edition. I got that through Super Rare Games. They shipped out the month after they went on sale. Like, and it was like no issues with the shipping, no issues with the production, there was no issues. The smoothest fucking, like, as smooth as you could hope for. Like, especially like coming internationally. I think they came from the UK. And it's just like, fuck. Man, Limited Run sucks. So there's that. All of that sucks. Like, how they run their business is stupid. But also, like, their business model is really suspect. Like, Limited Run games are not here preserving games or whatever. They're not for preservation. There's none of that shit. They're purely made just to, like, sell to collectors. Because, like, you know, like, manufacturing 1,000 copies of a game, that's not preserving it. Like, it's like the effect of like producing 1,000 copies of a game that's only available digitally, it's no different to like, oh yeah, well, this PS2 game, this obscure PS2 game sold like, I don't know, 50,000 copies, and it's like $300 on eBay. Well, a lot of these limited run games are like about that much on eBay, so you've really done nothing to help preservation, because like, well, what, like, let's say like that digital only game goes off the store. Oh, but it's okay, we preserved it. We printed 1,000 copies. You just got to pay $400 for one. It's like, well, you've still not addressed preservation. And it's like, well, when and then you look at like what limited run games primarily sells, like their big selling points. Ashlyn, what the fuck? Okay, never mind. Well, what's like limited run's like big thing? Oh, it's these intricate, expensive collector's editions. Is that helping preservation? Like, it's just very clear what their business model is and who their audience is. You know, it's like preservation is not part of their business model. Or Deathless, yeah. Well, it's not like I was taking it seriously. So yeah, fuck limited run games. And to be clear, like other like companies like that are similar to them, like super rare games and stuff like that, they're not really in the business of preservation either. But they don't like make that like their tagline, or, you know, physical forever. Oh yeah, yeah, whatever, man. Like, at least they're more honest, and they don't like run their companies like shit. You know, like, yeah. How is racism in Australia? It's okay if you don't want to open the argument. Another big topic that I'm gonna... No, like, racism isn't good, like, anywhere. It's just, you know, everywhere has their own specific flavor of it, you know? And Australia, it's like... Look, I'm not like a through and through sociologist, so I can't, like, you know, make a lot of definitive statements. Like, I don't have the data on hand. I'm also not an anthropologist, so like I don't know a lot of like stuff that goes into the study of society and shit. But on the whole, in my experience, Australia has like a very big problem of like casual racism or just casual bigotry, where like, you know, a person won't be like out and about like a dedicated racist or whatever, like an ideological racist or an ideological homophobe or whatever. They'll just like, if you ask them, like if you press them like, hey, do you hate like do you hate indigenous people or do you hate gay people? They'll be like, no, I don't hate them. I don't have a problem with them. But like, they'll just say like, they'll just throw out slurs like willy-nilly. They'll just like say like the most like, the stupidest shit like, oh yeah, like China's gonna like take over Australia. Well, do you hate Chinese people? No, I don't hate Chinese people. It's just they're gonna take over Australia. Like dumb shit like that. Or a lot of like, you know, like essentialist thinking with like, especially indigenous people were like, oh yeah, like they're all just alcoholics or they're all just like really like poor and fucking blah blah blah. And that's just how they are like as a people. Like, you know, most people do this. They don't like look at the state of a group of people and be like, oh, it's all down to like material conditions and circumstance. Like most people do just kind of, I say most people because, like, you know, it's just like kind of lazy thinking. It's easy to essentialize instead of like think of broader societal patterns. I don't mean to imply that like most people are racist or whatever, though, you know, most people do hold racist like beliefs and tendencies just inherent through their upbringing in a racist society. But, you know, it's not like, I'm not moralizing here. But yeah, like Australian like bigotry is very much like a casualized sort of thing where like, yeah, yeah, you'll know it when you see it, you know, like it's just very like, they kind of just throw it out, and it's like, and when you're like privy to this sort of stuff and you don't find that acceptable, it's just kind of like, it comes out of nowhere. It's just kind of a shock to your system. It's like, and you don't really know how to respond. You just kind of ignore it. It's the best way to, like sometimes it's just the best thing to do, you know, just like move on. It's just like a whatever. It's rough in Australia, depending on where you are. We are trying to move towards something better, but the older gen is still stuck in their ways. I mean, like, that's just like everywhere, right? Or most places. But to be clear, I don't think our government is trying to move anywhere better. They're pretty fucked as well, so... At least you don't have active fascist groups here. I don't know, man. Like, didn't you see when Posey Parker came down, there was just like a Nazi group that came out Sieg Heiling on the steps of Parliament in Melbourne. Because, you know, if the turf to fascist pipeline allegations weren't already cogent enough, we just have out and out Nazis just fucking showing up in support of their event, you know? It's kind of hard to deny that you're not a bigoted movement when that kind of happens, you know? Like the thin veneer of like, oh, we're actually feminists, we actually care about women's rights and stuff. It's like, fuck off. To be clear, these groups don't have a lot of power, but which is good, you know. Like they're very much fringe radical groups. I don't think the Proud Boys in the US have much political power either. But we don't have a cult of personality surrounding someone like Donald Trump here, so... I mean, we've got like similar figures like Pauline Hanson, but those are mostly like cooker types, you know, like very big anti-vax conspiracy theorist types, not just general conservatives here, which I guess is nice. Look, it's worse in America. I'll just put it that way. Oh, I gotta go be productive now. Bye, Zeke. Okay, see you, Yashwan. Have a good one. Blah. They're also kind of becoming a monopoly. All the big companies go to them for limited releases for some godforsaken. Yeah, like Hi-Fi Rush is getting like a PS5 port, and instead of Microsoft like doing it themselves or Sony doing it themselves, it's like, oh, let's give it to limited runs. Like this is the future of physical games, isn't it? Like AAA games aren't going to release physically by their publishers. We're just going to outsource it to limited run games. Great. I find the only reliable way of preservation being piracy. Currently, it's like, yeah, pretty much. But like, we've got to build systems, like, and we've got to build things to put in place to like that put preservation first. Like, we need like digital libraries for video games, you know, like places that just the layperson can access without like having to understand how to emulate, how to understand how to pirate and stuff like that. Like that's like a huge barrier of entry for your general gamer, or just like not even like a gamer, like just like someone who wants to engage with like important art that's like, you know, very culturally relevant. Like I'd use Chrono Trigger, but that's available on Steam. What's a classic game from like, I guess the 16-bit era that doesn't have like a modern port? Fuck. I'm drawing a blank because I don't really know the state of a lot of accessibility of like that kind of era of games. Someone help me out. Anyone? Is Ninja Gaiden 1 available digitally these days? I don't think it would be, right? I don't know. Look, just... There's a lot of important games that aren't available anywhere, you know? So... And piracy is well and good. Like, it does its job. Like, Like, we're not going to loot, like, the actual access to these games isn't going anywhere. Like, we're fine on that end, and we have been for decades. That's not really what we got to worry about. We got to worry about, like, how, like, a layperson accesses these things. And making it legal. So it's like, you know, most people don't really care about piracy, you know, but it's like, it's still a thing that people do care about. They don't want to feel like they're doing something wrong they can get in trouble for. So, and like, you know, just by virtue of it being illegal, not that anyone's going to care or crack down on it or whatever, it's inherently like a barrier. So we've got to, like, you know, set up systems that, like, allow, like, legal access to culturally important works. Whether that be through a library or like forcing, like, these publishers to make this stuff available. Like, I don't know, like Frank Cifaldi, he's the founder of the Video Game History Foundation. Back in, I think, 2017 or so, he gave a talk at GDC about like video game preservation. He makes a really good point where it's like, you know, he uses the example of this movie Uncle Buck. I don't know it. It seems like a, you know, just a movie that was a movie made for the sake of making a movie back in the 80s or whatever. But it's like, you know, not very culturally important, just like a movie, right? I could be wrong, I haven't seen it. But, like, he gives this example because it's a movie that doesn't really have much cultural weight, but, like, you can still buy it digitally. You can still get it on Blu-ray. You can still like rent it on YouTube or blah blah blah. It's, like, available everywhere, you know. And like, we have, like, standard, like, video codecs for stuff like this. Why can't, like, an emulator act as, like, a video codec? You know, like, a game is made for this console. Well, we have this emulator, and we can just, like, let people, like, have access to this stuff, you know? So yeah, like, preservation is difficult. There's not a lot of legal precedent in our favor either. Man, I'm running out of ammo. Fiscal forever. Well, for a month till we run out of copies. That's funny. Digital release of Rule of Rose. Yeah, that'd be nice. They're pretty much a consequence of how games are made. They aren't as versatile as music or video. Yeah, and that sucks. Oh, I already missed an orb. Oof. I'm just glad Plumbers Don't Need Ties got a remake. Nothing else needs to be preserved. Remakes suck. They're fucking awful and antithetical to preservation. I don't think that was a remake. I think that was a port. I could be wrong. I don't really know. All I know is that Limited Run put it out, so I don't really care. Oh yeah, I gotta talk about my books. Oh. Oh, and Yeshwant left. Oh. Dude. I miss the mid-2000s, guys. Do you? I don't really like romanticizing the past in ways like that, because it's like just blanketly like that. I think it's better to like talk about things in a way that's like you draw out like problems with today and how it was possibly better in the past, instead of just being like, man, wish we could go back to the past when things were better. Because in a lot of ways, things are better now. We just kind of fixate on the negative stuff. In terms of video games, it was better back then because Jak 2 came out. And Jak 2 didn't come out today, so it's automatically worse. No. I probably could have done that if I did it from the platform. Fuck. Are there meant to be two of you? Oh, we didn't spawn. Sure. You didn't have so much hentai Jak content during mid-2000s? I suppose. To be fair, I don't see much of that these days either. Yeah, I mean, imagine getting DMC3 and then a year later you have to buy a special edition for the extra stuff. You know, I'm kind of conflicted about that, because like the analogous thing for me is Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Assuming that like it came out in the West and it wasn't Japanese exclusive. Final Mix was cool because it was like, it was able to integrate things into like the normal game, right? And then it's like, well, what's like the modern equivalent of that for Kingdom Hearts 3, which, you know, the main games had Final Mix versions. Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't have a Final Mix. It had a I'm dropping frames. It had a DLC. And the DLC wasn't able to like do things as well as a Final Mix version could have, because like what Final Mix would do is like it would add like a bunch of like optional content, post game stuff, and that was all cool. But what it would also do is it would add like a few additional cutscenes during the story to like flesh out some plot points or like tease some stuff, and that was really cool. And like Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind also did that, but it's weird because the way you access Remind is you need to have already beaten the game to like have access to it. And then like it's a separate like it's a separate you guys can still like hear me, right? Like my stream hasn't crashed. It says poor, but like OBS seems okay. Well, chat's still going. I'm assuming you guys can still hear me and stuff. So what Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind did was like, you had to beat the game to access the Remind content, and they still put like, you know, new cutscenes during the game to flesh out some plot points, but like they do it like so the bulk of stream seems fine now anyway. The bulk of Remind is post-game stuff. It takes place after the ending. But they still wanted to like have a few like mid-game cutscenes to flesh out some stuff. So they just put them like at the start of the Remind thing. Like just like 2 or 3 like cutscenes devoid from the context that they were like supposed to be in or whatever. It's so weird, and it's like it sucks because like you don't really have like a definitive like version or whatever. It's just like, well, here's just bonus stuff, and you're gonna have to piece together where it's supposed to play during the story, you know? I don't know. That's why I kind of like Final Mix, because it's like, well, you can see it within the context it's meant to be viewed, you know? It doesn't feel like a hack job. So, I don't know. Hey there, Ollie. Welcome. I mean, DMC5 still did DMC5 Special Edition, didn't it? Like, was that like a whole ass thing you had to rebuy, or was it like, could you just download it as DLC? If Yashwan was here, he'd be able to answer me. But alas, he left. The coward. Nowadays it's just a small cheap DLC if given the situation. Hell, sometimes it's a free update. Just look at the Sonic Frontiers. 3 whole ass content updates are free. Yeah, that's more how they did it, not a limitation of the DLC. I don't know, like... I don't know. I mean, I suppose they could have done it, but like the thing, like... Can they though? Like, like you just download a DLC and then it just like... changes base game like that? Can you do that? But even if you could, like that erases like, oh, I have like, if I've bought and installed the DLC, it's, you know, altered the base game. Well, now I can't just experience what base game was like unless they like, can you just uninstall the DLC itself? Like, I don't know. Whereas like, at least with like the original Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, it's like, you've got 2 distinct versions you can compare side by side. Yeah, I don't know. Not just special edition, sometimes an NTSC version came with a weird game-breaking bug only a greatest hits or power version can fix. Oh no, I'm fine with like updates and patches and stuff. That's fine. But like, you know, like the concept of a special edition or a director's cut, like I do kind of like that stuff. I don't think it's like inherently like predatory or a bad thing or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like if a director's cut or special edition is there to purely fix bugs, I think it's lame. But like if it's like meaningfully adding content, I think it's pretty cool. I don't know if DMC3 meaningfully added content and added what, 1 like new playable character. Did the original have Bloody Palace? I don't remember now. I don't think it did. I don't know. Kingdom Hearts' Final Mix versions were pretty meaty in terms of content, so that's nice. Nope. Nope. There we go. But it's also like, even if they did like, for Kingdom Hearts 3 specifically, if they did like add those additional cutscenes into like the proper context, well, it's like, okay, well, I've already like got a completed save file and I just want to see the new Remind stuff. So am I going to replay the whole game just to see those couple cutscenes and play like the post-game stuff? You know? They're not going to. Whereas like when you bought Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, you had no choice. You've got to replay it from the start to see all the new stuff. And you know, like maybe that sucks because like you don't have the freedom to just see the new stuff, but like, I don't know, forcing a player to like have to do that kind of, I don't know, I don't think it's entirely a bad thing. Like DMC3 Special Edition, like the base game for Dante, I don't think is like different at all. Oh man, I could be completely wrong. I don't remember. I think the only real differences is like the ability to like play with checkpoints mid-level, Bloody Palace, and Virgil. I think that's like it. And like I think the new difficulties, like the higher difficulties, I think that's like it with Special Edition for DMC3. But with like Kingdom Hearts, like they added like a bunch of stuff like mid-game and like yeah, I don't know. I mean, that alarm went away really quick. Virgil Gold Wars and Bloody Palace. Yeah, that's about it, right? Like, I think the higher difficulties are also added in Special Edition, like Heaven and Hell and that stuff. I want to see a version of Jak 2 crossed with Silent Hill 3. I mean, it's foggy right now. It's good enough, right? Updates basically work when you mod a game by replacing files. Well, yeah, I know that. Like, updates are fine, like, if it's to fix bugs and stuff. Like, I don't have a problem with updates. Yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, like, content updates, like free content updates, like, I wish I could opt into and out of that and like go between versions of games. Like that's a big preservation issue actually, like being able to like play games on different versions, because like, you know, sometimes with the game like Cyberpunk, for example, playing that game on 1.0 is historically like important. I've already missed an orb. Fuck. Is kind of historically important to be able to like, you know, see firsthand what the game was like at release and like why it was such like a big deal that it released in that state, you know? And if you can't just switch to that, well, you know, but at the same time, it's like, well, that like, you know, some updates like fix security issues and shit like that. So it's kind of important, but it's like, yeah. And again, like I'm thinking specifically about Kingdom Hearts 3. There was a free update in 3 that added like new keyblades and new abilities and stuff. But it's hard to like gauge, like it's hard to compare the game, like just like an A and B comparison between like the game pre and post update, because like the new abilities are pretty game changing. They're really good abilities, but you kind of just turn them on and forget about it. Whereas And like there's nothing signifying that these are new abilities after you've like played around with them and turned them on. So I don't know. Like I guess you can Google it, but like just being able to like turn the patch on and off would be like really nice, just to be able to like do an A/B comparison. I don't know. I don't know. Switch divides its main files from the updates, so with a modded one, you can delete and play the 1.0 version. That's pretty cool. See, like, I have had many a Jak experiences. I've played these games multiple times on every console they've ever been released for. And one of the only, like, things that I haven't experienced and wish I could is the 1.0 release for Jak 1 on PS4. Because there was a glitch where if you switched continually from 50 to 60 hertz, it would freak the fuck out and have like it would go absolutely crazy. And I never got to experience that. And like I love it when like playing games I love when they're super corrupted and stuff. Like there's ways to like do texture corruption on PS2, but it's like really difficult to do. You're kind of just overloading the PS2 and like hoping it doesn't crash, hoping it has interesting results. And just being able to like do that on the fly on an official version on the PS4, like, I wish I could have experienced that, because there was some crazy shit that happened on that. Like, you know, potentially seizure-inducing. It's obvious why they patched it out. Like, I wouldn't want them to not patch it out. But I want to experience it. There probably are ways I can, but, yeah. I don't feel like modding my PS4 either. I like being able to download the game and canceling the update file. No, because like I think on PS4, you can't you don't download the game, then it downloads the updates. It does for disc, but digitally, you just get the whole thing at once. And the limited run games disc is not 1.0. Weird. Well, like the whole thing is like, you know, we're trying to preserve it, quote unquote. So like having the game with all of its updates on a disc, so you don't have to connect to the internet to play it with the full updates and fixes and stuff. Like I get the rationale. It's the same with like a game that has like DLC for it and then it gets a physical announced. It's like, well, we want the DLC on the disc, you know. Only option is downloading from a server that has the game and update separated. Yeah, I think the only way you're able to do it is to mod your PS4, and I think there are ways to do that sort of thing. I've got to talk about the books I've read. Oh man, I've got a whole stack here. Ugh. I've got a whole stack of books. I haven't read all of these. Some of these I've just picked up. Okay, I'll go through these first. Okay, first one is Stephen King's Carrie. Let me switch. YouTube. Let's go. I borrowed this one from my brother because it was like, well, he's got a few Stephen King books. I borrowed all of them from him because it's like, well, he's a big writer. I should read some of his stuff. So I read this like in a day, pretty much in a single sitting. It's kind of a weird read. It's not, I think it was his first novel. It's not really scary. It's kind of just really sad. Like it reads as a tragedy, really. I don't know if that was the intention. Like it's got like some supernatural elements. I don't know. It's a weird read. It's really interesting though. Where's that one? I also want to bring up this one. This is like the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe, which I think has a cool cover. What I've decided to do, this is over 1,000 pages long, so I'm not going to just like read this all at once. I've decided that I'm going to read, well, this is like predominantly short stories, and then like towards the end is poetry and stuff. I'm going to read like a short story in between every book I read. So I've read, I think 3 or 4 so far. 80 pages in. I could talk about all of these, but I don't know. I don't think it'd be very interesting. His writing is really interesting though. I haven't really encountered any like horror stories just yet. But his writing is kind of interesting. He takes great joy in going into incredible detail about like how a character did a thing. So like one story is like a treasure hunt sort of thing essentially. And so like the first half of the story is like the setup and then going on the treasure hunt and finding the thing, like the chest full of gold or whatever. And then the second half of the story is like the main character's like, so how did you figure out where it was? And then like the whole second half is just the other guy going in excruciating detail, explaining every step by step like thing that it like went into him like figuring it out and the realizations he had, and then yeah, he's an interesting writer. I'm quite enjoying his work. That story in particular, pretty racist. like this guy just has like a slave, and the way that he's chosen to depict his patterns of speech, let's say, it's not a very favorable depiction. This was written in like the mid 19th century, so you know, but yeah, it was kind of yikesy. Oh fuck, Yeshwan's so not only is Yeshwan not here to like hear me talk about books, but I also wanted to talk to him about Jack 2's fucking open world design. I totally forgot. Ugh, I suck. I'm a bad streamer. Oh. Man, everything's so much faster and quieter without the voices turned on. I like the book rambling. I've got more. I was just concentrating on that mission. I think the next one is this one. This is Blind Faith by Ben Elton. I didn't finish this one. This one fucking sucked. Oh, and it's it really sucks because Ben Elton, so he's a writer obviously. But he worked on two shows that are some of my favorites. It's The Young Ones and Blackadder. So like he's a British comedy writer. But like he has a long catalog of novels as well. And in high school, I read a few of them. I read Stark, I read Popcorn, and Time After Time. And Time After Time was a really cool one. It was like this alternate history time travel story where it's like the world has like gone to shit sort of thing. Like it's kind of set, like the main premise is sort of set in the future. And it's like, oh, we figured out like this obscure time travel method. Now, if you could go back but it's one way, you can't come back. So like, if you could go back to prevent the worst tragedy in the world, what would it be? Well, the Great War. The Great War led to the horrors of the 20th century. So, go back in time and prevent the assassination of, I think it was Franz Ferdinand or whatever. Like the ignition point of the Great War. And so he goes back in time and it's a really cool story. So that was like my history with Ben Elton as a writer going into reading this. My dad's a big fan of his. He has like all of his books. So like I borrowed this copy from him. He also lent me two others of his books. And this fucking sucked. I hated it. I got 100 pages in. Like at like page I don't know 40, I decided like this is not good. But like I didn't want to just drop it there and then. I was like, I'm gonna keep reading this, see if it It redeems itself. If it gets any better, it just got worse and worse. Like I'm by page 100 or so. Like I stopped at chapter 14 at page 102. I just couldn't anymore. It was so bad. Like just so bad. So basically the plot of this book, it's a post-apocalypse. It's dystopia, sorry. It's a dystopic future. Oh man. Fuck, how do I even... I'm just gonna... I made a Goodreads. Shit, hold on. I made a Goodreads and I've been taking notes of all the books I read. So I'm just gonna read my fucking rambles that I wrote for this. I wrote a fuck ton. I was just so mad at this book. It was so bad. I hope that's okay with everyone. What would you do if you could stop something from the past? I really don't know. Which is why it's kind of a cool concept, right? Like, it kind of provokes that sort of question and then explores like this cool like alternate history thing. But I don't know. I don't know enough about history, I don't think. And I'm not like, I don't think I would have any like, what authority do I have to be like, oh, I can choose one thing from... You know what? I'll make a Naughty Dog go through with their Jack 4 plans in 2009. I'll make them not cancel it there. Something frivolous, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to read my notes here. So, I'm only 42 pages in, but God, this is infuriating and feels super reactionary. The dystopian world is set up as a hyper-religious Orwellian world in which faith is legally mandatory. But the contents of this religion is like hyper-exaggerated progressive ideals. There's a huge streak of fat phobia, going in detail on how disgusting these large people are, in brackets, constantly shoving food into their mouths. And due to the religion, everyone dresses super lightly because you're made in the Lord's image. To cover yourself up is to be ashamed of the Lord. Which is obviously attacking the ideas that being accepting of one's size and weight, and the idea that modesty is not a virtue. This kind of ties into this really weird aspect of having to be extra vigilant as to not be labeled a pedo or a pervert and have mob justice instilled upon you. This is given during a scene where he's trying to push his way through a crowd of people going the opposite way from him while the book is going on its tirade of fat phobia, and he's trying not to touch anyone as to not get called out. And another example when needing to do a workplace group hug and has to be conscious of not gripping his woman co-worker too much as to not be called out as a perv. It's really weird the amount of like detail that goes into this shit as well, by the way. This again feels like it's railing against This again feels like it's railing against the changing standards of what constitutes sexual assault and women being more open to expressing when they're being assaulted. Like, it's kind of making fun of like, oh, I didn't touch her that much, like, you're saying I sexually assaulted her. It feels like a right winger's like it just feels super fucking weird, Continuing, privacy seems to be a big aspect of this book's world in that it doesn't really exist. There's a super boomer energy to the whole, you need to share every aspect of your life online because to not do so is to want privacy, and privacy is a sin. Which, sure, one could make critique of people oversharing their lives online. In brackets, this book released in 2006, so it was topical, Facebook and MySpace being new and stuff. And there are definitely things to be said about privacy in the digital age. But again, the way it tackles this is to over-exaggerate the fact that people share their lives online to the point where, in the book, every conversation, no matter how personal, is to be spoken as loud as possible because volume is a reliable benchmark of sincerity. And what I'm quoting here with my fingers, I'm literally just like quoting the book itself. And this is demonstrated during a scene where people are encouraged to share their traumatic stories to do with losing their children. Oh no. This again seems like it's not only attacking oversharing online, but people being open with discussing sensitive topics and experiences. In this same scene, it's revealed that MC lost his first child, but is glad he is rarely encouraged to share that because the suffering of fathers did not form a major part of the emotional fabric of the community. Like, oh my god. Like, just fucking, oh oh, I'm such a victim as a man, you know, like, oh, the suffering of, like, there are genuine feminist critiques to be made about, like, the suffering of men and how hegemonic masculinity doesn't allow men to like actually express their emotions. But the way it's written, like, that's again a direct quote, the way it's written is so fucking whiny. It's so and like pairing it all with, like, you know, like the way the book like talks about women, and it's just, the whole thing is just like really you know. Which just sounds super whiny at the fact that women in recent decades have been encouraged to speak up more after centuries of being told their place is to be silent and obedient. Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay, I guess I'm just repeating myself. But, like, a good feminist critique could be made here because, yeah, fathers, or men broadly, do rarely get a chance to voice their suffering without fear of mocking. But this is an aspect of patriarchy, the idea that men are meant to be stoic, show no emotion aside from what is controlling anger. There's also... yeah. Sorry, I'm bad at reading aloud. There's also some weird anti-democracy stuff as well, when it went into the history of how all this stuff was legislated, as well as implying things like anti-religious hate crime laws led to this society. Sorry. Implying any restrictions of free speech is guaranteed to lead to a world like this, yeah. Though I can't tell yet how deep-seated this is, it is weird how it says that workplaces are officially non-hierarchical, and this is portrayed as a bad thing. You know, the anarchist in me complaining. There's also this element of viewing the past as evil, that we shouldn't take anything from the past because that's when all the mistakes were made. The example they give is names. All the characters' names are weird, like Barbie Heart. The main character's name is Trafford, which is weird. All of this has a thin fascist coding to it, since the main character seems opposed to all of this, wanting to return to tradition, to put it one way. He wants to name his newborn Caitlin instead of Happy Meal, and is chewed out for it by, like, his local priest. He dresses more modestly than everyone. He doesn't want to post everything online. He questions the legitimacy of God. The fat phobia stems from his thoughts. He is positioned by the narrative as the logical, reasonable outlier in this zany world, and is wanting to return to tradition. Is seen as like a common sense like position. But in a world as hyper exaggerated as this one, of course this would seem like common sense. But when pulling away from the exaggeration to see what the book is really commenting on, it feels really reactionary. It equates all these nominally progressive values as a religion, and you'll be punished from stepping out of line with them, and is exactly how the right characterizes left-wing ideals. It's not even really making fun of Christianity, which is the stated religion, because Christians fucking hate all this stuff, like not being modest, being open about the crazy types of sex you're having, in brackets, MC's neighbor... oh my god. In brackets, the main character's neighbor is fucking their dad, having a threesome, and is being streamed 24/7. And being open about your problems with others. Like, Christians hate all that shit. So it's like, it's not even really making fun of Christianity. Feels really enlightened centrist, making fun of the loony lefties, but also trying to make fun of religious fundamentalism. Just comes across as really cringe. I guess I'll read more and see where it goes, though. So that was after reading 42 pages. I can't see chat, so I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up, but here's my comments, not as long, that I made after I dropped it. Ended up dropping this, got 102 pages in, and while it did finally get to the main thrust of the plot, my main issues didn't subside. Here's some more various notes I took along the way. It's also taking the piss on diversity hires. It has a character whose job is to be old and sit in a corner to fulfill a government-mandated anti-age discrimination law. Same for a person in a wheelchair. Even says they're both capable and intelligent. But their sole job is just to sit there in the corner to fill a quota. Like, oh, great social commentary there. Oh my god. Man, these dialogue exchanges feel really amateur. Feels like something I would have written when I was 12. Yeah, like the dialogue and the prose is also just feels really like really lazy, like really not good, you know? I don't know. Also some really gross mocking of the concept of women feeling empowered in their bodies by pairing it with hyper-exaggerated values on cosmetic surgery, particularly enormous breast implants. Yeah, that was another gross thing. You know, it's kind of weird how the plot flip-flops between wanting to portray Trafford, the main character, as this sympathetic character you'll obviously root for because he can see through the bullshit. But then when approached by the vaccinator, who's like, you know, the outsider who's trying to join him in the resistance, he gets super fundamentalist. Not even a mild hesitant curiosity, just blatant dogma out of nowhere. So like it just kind of flip-flops. It's really poorly written. And then towards the end, I think I figured out why this book is so lame and has my eyes rolling so hard. It's a combination of the stupid dystopian setting with the way the narrative is set up. Here we have a protagonist who's set up by the narrative as the smartest person in the room at all times because he doesn't 100% conform to everything. He's brave enough to question things by having really gross thoughts about fat people. It honestly just comes across as the author jerking off to how smart and self-aware he is. He's not like all those other mindless sheep. Also, like every detail about this world and why and how it came to be this way is just told to us through the narrator, not shown. Doesn't feel organic, world building, just hammering all this on the head of the reader. Yeah, that's my notes on this book. Don't read it, it's really bad. I'm so disappointed because I've liked this guy's work in the past when I was like, I don't know, 16, and my dad's really into him. So I'm really scared to read some of his other work. This was really horrible. Ugh. Sorry, that was just like a whole dump of words, hey. What the fuck? I just came back from feeding the dog? Oh my god. I'm sorry, little sausage. I was talking about my notes on this book. I didn't finish it. It was really bad. But those were my thoughts on that book. Really bad. This should not be funny, but I know it's so bad. Like, I just was laughing and rolling my eyes so hard the whole time I was reading it. It was like, oh my god, like, we're really doing this? Like, oh my god. Oh, it's so... You kind of just got to read it to believe it. Like, I don't know. I kind of want to go back and read it, like finish it, just to like have a proper, just to have a proper understanding of how to properly tear into it and how fucking awful it is. Like, oh, I don't know. Well, I read that and dropped it. So, what was the next book I read? I think it was this one. I'll talk about my pickups later after I've talked about the books I've read. The next book I did finish this one is Terry Eagleton's How to Read Literature. I picked this up when I was like 18 because it was like, well, I want to like, you know, be able to engage with video game narratives better. It all comes back to wanting to critique video games better. I picked it up like years ago. I never finished it. I never got further than maybe like 10 pages or so. But this time I was finally like, all right, I'm gonna read this, and it's gonna make me big brain. I'm gonna know how to read properly. Did it work? Not really. This book was really nice in the sense that it really made me understand how little I understand. You know what I mean? Like, it made me realize, wow, there is so much knowledge and craft that goes into engaging with literature. I am just not there. You know what I mean? So it was nice in that sense. But the whole book was just kind of giving examples. You're like using examples of texts I haven't written, which I guess doesn't really matter. But it was just giving examples like, okay, here's like this like body of text, and we're going to analyze what makes it really good or what makes it bad. And it was just kind of the author explaining like all of this without really going into detail about how to arrive at those conclusions. You know what I mean? So there was also like some philosophical conversations about like the value of literature and interpretation and stuff like that. So that was interesting. It's an interesting book. It was a difficult read too. Yeah, I didn't get a whole ton from it though, but you know, it was good, I guess. Anyway, back to Jack 2. Whoa! Don't you guys just love this game? Oh my god, I shoot the guy. Also, hey Martian, I probably should have said hi. Oh, I probably should explain just before moving on. That blind faith book, like when you finally do find out what the actual thrust of the plot is, it's like this is a dystopian world where well, it's kind of like making fun of anti-vaxxers as well, because this world has like a really high infant mortality rate because they see vaccines as like ungodly. They think like they have very like limited records of like there was essentially like a flood that like was like the point in which history kind of turned, and that Christianity became like a mandated religion sort of thing. So they have very little like knowledge of before then. And they blame the flood coming and destroying the world on like, you know, sin and stuff. And one of the big ones was vaccines. Like they have this this notion that vaccines were like killing like children. So like this world is like very anti-vax, and that's why like, you know, there's like extended scenes of people sharing like traumatic stories of them losing their children, and why the main character lost his firstborn, because like this world doesn't have vaccines and stuff. And so like he meets this guy at his workplace called the Vaccinator because like he's like an old guy, and he's like, he knows the truth, and is like, well, he still tries to help people with their children and make sure like they live. And I like that's kind of the main thrust of the plot. That's like the plot twist. Like, oh, it's like, not to jump ahead, but I also read 1984 recently, and it's very clear how much he's like aping off that story and doing it really badly. So yeah, it's a bad book. I kind of want to read it again just to laugh. What is the most racist, misogynistic thing that happened in the Jack series, if there is? Daxter, for the misogyny. That sounds like a wrestling name, the Vaccinator, yeah. I can't think of anything racist in these games. Even like anything that could be like subtextually read as racist, you know? I can't really think of anything. Like even in like fantasy stories and fantasy settings and stuff, there is usually like, you know, you can read real world politics into it, but I can't really think of anything in Jack to do with race specifically. It doesn't really touch on anything to do with that sort of stuff, which is nice, I guess, actually. I mean, I guess like, you know, pretty much every character is like white presenting, I guess, like, you know, Sig is like the only like actual like black character, so I don't know. I guess like it doesn't like comment on anything to do with race, but like it reflects, you know, a white supremacist society, I guess, like in which it was created. Not that Jack 2's world is white supremacist. Oh yeah, that's one I read. I guess moving on to the next book, I did read 1984. This book was actually really interesting. I read that in like, I read most of it in a single sitting. And man, I have a lot of thoughts on it. Man, I don't know if I should just read my notes on it again. No, I probably shouldn't do that. That's quite extensive. I had a lot to say about it. It's really, really interesting. yeah, oh man, what how do I condense my thoughts without going like super in depth about like my interpretation of things? Fuck. Orwell is super based, okay? Its portrayal of this world is like really detailed and immersive, I think. The main thrust of the story isn't like anything, you know, like the plot. It's not anything like, you know, super special or whatever. Nothing much really happens. But the focus is the world and the world building. And I think it's pretty well done. Well, okay, I'll go into a little bit about my like interpretation. Spoilers for 1984. Go read this book. It's really good, actually. Literally 1984. So there's a point in the second part of the story where the main character, his name's Winston, he convenes with a coworker who has kind of like subtly told him that like, hey, we're kind of against this like oppressive system as well. Like, you know, if you like come talk to me, like you can join the resistance sort of thing. Like that's essentially like the thrust of that like little plot point. He doesn't say that outright to him when he meets him. But what ends up happening is like, you know, Winston joins like the resistance or whatever, and he gets given like a textbook that's like their like main text that all the members of like this resistance have to memorize in order to like, you know, understand what they're fighting for, sort of thing. And it's really cool because like we just get to read that book. Like that book is just in the pages of this book, you know, like not all of it, like, but like there's just like an extended period of like, I don't know, 50 pages or so. I don't know how long it really is, but like we're just reading in universe political theory. It's really cool. And it's not like, and it's pretty in depth as well. Like going in depth about like how, about like the history of like these states. Like there's only 3 states in the world. Like they've all kind of like homogenized. And going into the history of like, you know, the wars between the states and how they self-perpetuate and how they only serve to like build up their legitimacy in the eyes of like, you know, the people, and how like they're not really at war really, like because like no one, like they all benefit from being at war, so it's kind of just like an unspoken like thing where it's like, yeah, we're just gonna like, it's a perpetual war, none of us can really like, you know, overthrow the other 2 states sort of thing. So it's really interesting on that end, like and like that, like it has like 3 main chapters, I think, like war, information, and control. I can't remember specifically, but like it has like different sections where it talks about different critiques of like this system and the history of it. And it's like you're reading this and it's like, obviously what's written here is like analogous to like the systems and states that were around when Orwell was writing this book. The book like is set in 1984, duh. But it's like an alternate history thing where it's like, well, you know, the Nazi regime and the USSR, like they were things, but they were eventually like all subsumed into this like one big state, right? And it talks about like, you know, this state is just a continuation of those like horrendous regimes. And it's like, you know, a lot of dipshits who don't know how to read or haven't read this book often cite 1984 as like an anti-communist piece where it's like, you know, like here they are like railing against like state power and the USSR and stuff, blah blah blah. But it's like if you actually read this, it's like, yeah, Orwell is very much condemning the USSR because they were fucking horrific. His critique is like inherently anarchist. Like he's saying like the problem with capitalism and the problem with like regimes like Nazi Germany and the USSR, the one thing that they all have in common that led to them being horrific systems was the fact that they were like so built upon like hierarchical power structures. And it's like, And it's just like, you're reading this and it's like, dude, like this is like legit fucking political theory. Like just change the names of like the institutions and the states, and it's like, you could be reading fucking Bakunin right here, you know? Like, fuck. It's really cool. Like there was that whole section where you're just reading like in-universe political theory, and like not only is like the critique based as fuck, it's also just like a really cool world building thing where it's like Orwell thought through this world so thoroughly that he was able to have internal critique within the law. Like it was so fucking cool. So there's that. I really loved that. That was really cool. What really stuck with me the most, though, I think, was, again, spoilers for 1984, I guess, for the final chunk of it. There's a specific, like, in the end, like, Winston gets captured by the Thought Police and taken to, like, this place, like, this re-education place, I guess, where people go when they get captured. And there's many extended scenes of him getting tortured and shit. It's kind of hard to read at times, but there's one scene in particular where, like, the guy he went to, like, get this textbook, like, he ended up being a member of the Thought Police, and he's the one who's torturing him in this scene. And they're talking about, like, they're having, like, an ideological debate, really, about, like, because Winston, like even now, like, even after, like, how, like, who knows how long of being tortured, he still, like, recognizes that, like, this system is fucked, and that, like, human freedom should be fought for, and it should be, like, something to fight for, you know? And this scene has, like the guy's name is O'Brien. Like, Winston says, like, you know, it doesn't matter, like, what happens to me, blah, blah, blah. I'm paraphrasing, but he's, like, essentially, one day, like, this system will fall because, like, just, whoa, lag. Game. Thank you. Wow, dude, I have not had this before. I want to turn off bad weather. But yeah, like, this is a scene where he's getting tortured by O'Brien, and they're kind of having, like, this debate, sort of, and Winston essentially says, like, you know, no matter what, like this system will fail. Like, it's just so inherently evil that it has to fail. And O'Brien's like, you know, mocking him, like, look, are you a religious man? You're making these arguments based purely on faith. Like, there is no evidence that, you know, like, Big Brother and this regime will fall. And from the perspective of the reader, he's fucking right. Like, the incredible detail that this book, like, shows you, like, of how just self-perpetuatingly powerful this system is. It's like, yeah. Like, the protagonist of this story couldn't even, like, do anything. Like, oh yeah, he joined, like, the resistance, and got this book. It was all a ploy. He couldn't affect change in any way whatsoever. The protagonist of the book, you know? Like, fuck. Like, what is, like, that's it. And, like, yeah, like, he's mocking Winston, like, you're making these arguments purely based on faith. And he's essentially just saying, like, you know, I believe in the human spirit, sort of thing, you know? And the book ends, like, really, ends on a really dour note. Like he doesn't end up getting killed in the re-education facility, but he knows that one day at any random point he will be murdered. Not because of, like, that's an inherent part of the system, but, like, once you've, like, been in that re-education place, you usually do die. Like, you usually do just get killed. But, like, he was, like, successfully, like, re-educated. But even still, like, he's still, because, like, he had to go through that process anyway, he's still a threat, so one day they will just murder him out of nowhere. So it's like, the book ends with, it's like, well, couldn't get anything done, like, no positive change whatsoever, and he will be murdered one day, you know? That's the end of the book. And it's like, fuck, that's really depressing. But what's really interesting, and the reason I outlined that specific scene with Winston and O'Brien talking about, like, you know, it's inevitable that this system will fall because I believe in the human spirit thing. It's very interesting because this book has an appendix that talks about doublespeak. Newspeak, sorry, and doublethink. So I'm kind of going off about a lot of assumed knowledge with 1984 because it is such like a culturally important book. Like so Newspeak is like this language like that the institutions have come up with. That's goal is to limit thought as much as possible. By eliminating so many words, it makes expression really difficult. And this appendix goes like in great detail of like the mechanics and the and like the linguistics of Newspeak. And like, you know, you read this and it's just like, oh, you know, this is just like Orwell, you know, he like really thought out this world, and it's just like an appendix of him like wanting to like show off how cool this language is that he like put a lot of thought into. And so like that's kind of all you think it is. But it's really interesting because like in this appendix, it talks about Newspeak in the past tense. So it's like it's not as if like, you know, Orwell is speaking directly to the reader like, hey, here's this language I came up with and here's how to like construct sentences if you want to. It's like it's talking about Newspeak in past tense, how the language was constructed, what the purpose of it was. And it's like it reads more like a historical document recounting this and stuff. So it's like purely through this appendix, it's like, fuck, is this implying that like, you know, these states and institution like Big Brother did fall? Is this implying that like, you know, this appendix is being written decades after the fact? Winston was right, like the human spirit did prevail. It's like when reading it like through this lens, it becomes like a really optimistic look for humanity, you know? Like, and again, like we take it like to the time in which it was written, capitalism and the USSR, like, you know, the two big ideologies in the world, you know, and both of which are fucking horrific, and Orwell was a very big critic of both. But it's like these institutions, these states are so enormously powerful, like too powerful for one person to really comprehend the scale of. But he writes this book that's like a really like optimistic view of like, you know, they may be killing fucking union workers day in, day out for trying to protest for rights such as the weekend. But, you know, oppressive systems can't last forever. Today's empires are tomorrow's ashes, to quote Propaganda, quoting someone else, I'm sure. I found a very optimistic outlook from such like a dour book. I found it so fucking interesting. Like there's just I want to read this again at some point just to like really go in depth about like looking at the ways like it's like written and the way it portrays certain elements. Yeah, that's kind of my spiel on literally 1984. It's a good book. I really enjoyed it. I'm loving the deep jack. The deep jack, absolutely. Oh god, I'm so bad. I'm loving the jack and the deep philosophical concept exploration. The two go together in a poetic type of way. I'm glad you're enjoying this stream. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Jack 2 is a pretty inherently political game as it is, so... You know, drawing upon a lot of cyberpunk fiction like Blade Runner. But like honestly, I kind of just use Jack as like a vehicle for wanting to just talk about whatever on stream. Just so happens I'm talking about the literature I've been reading. I do wanna after I'm done talking about books, I do want to kind of discuss with you guys some ideas for like what to do on stream. I've got a few. I don't want to. I kind of want to stop playing Jack a bit. I'm kind of a bit sick of it, you know, as you do. Like I'm fully willing to talk about Jack and still have the guys on to discuss our Jack projects whenever. But I do want to do some play some other stuff on stream, but we can talk about that later. I've only got one more book to talk about that I've finished, and then talk about the books that I've picked up lately. Oh, again, all these books I've been talking about, these are just the ones I've read this year so far. So, I'm doing a lot of reading lately. Oh man, okay. Well, the last book I've got to talk about, also a very political one. I wasn't expecting it. This is The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Very thin book. Well, it's literally like 100 pages. Read most of it in a single sitting. I picked it up because I've seen both the movies actually, but the first, like, there's two film adaptations, one from the 1960s and one from like 2002 or something. The first one I watched was from the 60s. I didn't watch the other one until later. Just, it's a long story, but it's not very good. But I really loved the original one. It's this really cool story about like this guy. He builds a time machine, like it's set in like the late 19th century. He builds a time machine and he goes like 800,000 years in the future. And there's this like, there's this group of people called the Eloi, and they are in kind of conflict, I guess, with this monster race called the Morlocks. And yeah, it was a really cool movie. And I really enjoyed it. So I saw it in the bookshop for $10. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'll pick that up. Be honest, I'm digging you takes on literature you're reading, video essays or something of the like would be really cool. I don't know if I'm quite qualified enough to talk about literature in a video essay. I can talk about video games though, and I am working on a video at the moment. Not about Jack, about a different game, but takes a bit more of like a philosophical lens, I guess. So that'll be nice. I want to get that out soonish. I got a weird feeling that people are almost pretty much destined to fuck themselves over, but also no matter how much we fuck up, we still find a way out of it. Like, I understand how fucked up humans are, but I also have a lot of faith in the human spirit, let's say. There's some games that's really interested in me that leads into that concept. It's kind of fascinating. Yeah, it's a weird thing, right? Because like you look at like the course of history, and like we obviously have like a lot of setbacks. Like, I wouldn't say from the years 1939 to 1950 it was a consistent upward spiral. You know, like we've had a lot of setbacks in terms of like progression in human history, making the world a better place and shit, you know. But like on the whole, things just get better, you know, like humans find a way through like really tough circumstances. I think like the big thing for us right now, you know, there's obviously the like encroaching threat of fascism in the US and Europe at the moment, which sucks. But I think the biggest thing that humans are kind of contending with as a species is climate change. And it's like, you know, you want to have that like optimism where it's like, you know, humanity will find a way, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, fuck, man, like this is such like an enormous existential problem and no one's doing anything about it. So it's like, I'm going to try and do this speedy. So it's like, it's really fucking hard to stay optimistic in times like these, you know? But it's like, you know, if historical precedent is anything to go by, humans find a way. Even if, like, it's not the perfect outcome, maybe billions do have to die, but the human race won't be extinguished. I don't know. It's, yeah. It's a lot to think about. Oh, that could have been smoother, but it was good. Okay, did I do it? Woohoo, we did it. Cool. I wouldn't entirely call my take optimistic. I mean, it's a lot more optimistic than humanity's fucked, who cares, nothing matters, you know. Which is very easy to sink into when it comes to... the more you research into climate change, the effects it'll have on the Earth, and how little people in power are doing about it. Yeah, saying that humanity will find a way, that's a radical statement. You know? Fuck. I tend to have faith too, because even a lobotomized society, it puts itself back, if put with its back against the wall, will rebel because it has no choice. What I fear is a society that spoon-fed a reality where we're fine with a miserable life. Yeah. Hey there, Kivach. Yeah, 1984 was pretty good. oh, shocker! Like one of the most historically important texts ever written it turns out to be a good book. Okay, to wrap up the books I've been reading, another deeply political book actually, The Time Machine. It's like 5 a.m. It's 4 a.m. for me, so. Welcome to the philosophical debate. Well, it's not really a debate. I'm just kind of going off. So The Time Machine. So it's actually really interesting how different the book is to the movie. Not in terms of plot or structure, but because, like, man, the movie really took out all of, like, the political undertones. At least I think it did. Because I don't remember it in the movie, but I haven't seen it in a really long time, so I am very interested to rewatch it. But considering the time period it came out, I don't think they would have kept it in there, but I'll get there in a sec. So basically, like, yeah, like this guy, he builds a time machine and he goes 800,000 years in the future, and he comes across this race of people called the Eloi. Point one of difference between the film and the book. In the film, they're like portrayed as, like, you know, normal humans, you know, like maybe a bit like mentally different. They seem to lack empathy or some shit. But, like, you know, they're like just normal looking humans. In the book, they're like half the size of humans, and they're not exactly human. Like a lot of this book is the main character. He's kind of trying to piece together from what little information he has how things got to the point they did. And so when he comes across this race of people in their society, there's no buildings in sight. It's all just greenery and blah blah blah. They like, this is in the text. Like, he says, like, they live on a purely vegetarian diet. Like, all they eat really is fruits. And they all gather in, like, this big hall and eat together and sleep together. And it's like, you know, it's like world peace. It's like a peaceful society. There's no conflict. It's all, you know, and he's thinking, and it's like, okay, like his first conclusion is, okay, this is communism. Like, people are living communally, like, you know, food, shelter, everything is like, you know, freely accommodated. Like, there's no one like selling the shelter or selling the fruit or whatever. And that was his first conclusion he came to. Like, it seems like the ideal society. Like, you know, maybe like, oh, there's over the last 800,000 years, there's been a loss of love for the arts or whatever, but, you know, there's no human suffering, and, you know, take what we can get, I guess. But then, like, there's a twist where we see there is more than just the Eloi. There's also a race called the Morlocks, and these are creatures that live underground, and they only come out at night because, like, well, they've evolved to be like resistant to sunlight, sort of, or just resistant to light. They live in pure darkness underground in tunnel networks and shit. And during the night, they come up from underground to steal some Eloi when they can, to eat them. Like, that's how they eat. And I've seen the movie. I was scared of those dudes when I was a kid. Yeah, I saw the movie as a kid too, and I really liked it. It's interesting how different the book is, though, because like it really goes into like the political undertones. Because his theory, it's again so based. Like, his theory of how things got this way is like, well, you know, late 19th century was written and initially takes place. Well, laborers are more and more often these days having to work underground, and so, you know, these Morlocks with their pure white fur and eyes that like can only adapted to darkness. I guess over the course of 800,000 years, I guess even sunlight was a bourgeois privilege. You know, like so his theory is that the Eloi is the aristocracy who were given the privilege to live above ground. And the Morlocks were the laborers, the proletariat, who were forced underground to produce the goods for the benefit of the aristocracy. And it's like, holy shit, dude, what the fuck? Like, this is written in like 1895, dude. Like, fuck. So there's that, and like the main thrust of the plot is when he arrives in the future. He hangs out with the Eloi a bit, and then he goes back to where he left the time machine and it's gone. And he spends time trying to get it back from where he thinks it is, from the Morlocks. And that's like the main thrust of the plot, blah blah blah. So there's all that political commentary and stuff. Which again, considering when the movie was released, like the first one, like 1960s or something, I can kind of understand why they didn't want to delve into the political undertones, considering the USSR was still like a big global force. You know, it wasn't communist by any means, but that was like, you know, like Red Scare was in full force back then, you know. But it's what's interesting to me, the thing I think aside from that, the thing I took away most from it was once he gets the time machine back, he thrusts himself like forward into the future again. And there's this really, really cool scene where like he just keeps going forwards, you know. He eventually like stops at this point like millions of years in the future, right? And all that's there, like the scene he paints is like the sun has like come so close to the earth, expanded so much that like it's just the whole horizon is this giant orange glow. And he's situated at this like shoreline where the tides don't move, like, and they're receded so far, sort of thing. And it's like this mega plants, like mega flora or fauna. I can't remember which one is which, but it's like these huge plants because of all the photosynthesis, and he's kind of sitting there, like admiring everything, and then like these giant crab creatures kind of like start moving towards him, and it's the flora, yeah, and kind of like nuzzle up against him, sort of thing, and it freaks him the fuck out. So like he pushes forward in time even further, and again, like the sun just expands even more and more, and eventually those giant crab creatures are also gone, and it just got like so existential. in a really like, in a really subtle way, like a subdued way, I think. It kind of made me reflect on it's it's something I think about a lot, especially when it comes to like video games and because you know, video game preservation is something I take like really seriously, something I think is very important. Not just video game preservation though, like just like historical preservation in general. I think it's important to preserve our history and our culture and I often think about like, you know, when you think about like, oh, what's the point of living, blah blah blah, like you get into those sorts of headspaces, and often like I'll think like, you know, well, what am I gonna leave behind when I'm gone? Like, what impact am I gonna have on this world? And it's like, well, if I think about my life so far, I guess I made some YouTube videos that people liked, you know, like that's not gonna go away when I'm dead. Like it'll still remain on YouTube, but it's like, well, what happens when YouTube goes under? What happens when all those servers die, or like something happens and the internet is like completely taken offline or is destroyed or whatever? What happens if the horrible effects of climate change in this century, you know, happen and like humanity kind of dies or is very much like taken down a peg, you know? Well, I guess like my impact on this world, I guess I will cease to have like, it will have been as if I never existed, you know? And that's something like I think about sometimes, and it's, you know, I try not to dwell on it too much because like, you know, it's pretty heady stuff and it's not conducive to positive thinking, we'll put it that way. But like, but also like you're reading this book and it's like, well, there's not only that, like the personal aspect, like what am I personally gonna leave upon this earth sort of thing. It also like through this book, it was like, what about like the human race as a whole, you know, like, you know, we get to see like a snippet of the future, 800,000 years in the future. We have the Eloi Society, and it's like, well, man, there's like almost like we do see a couple scenes where it does have like the remains of prior human civilization, and it's an interesting scene. But then it's like, well, we're given an even more interesting thing where it's like, well, when he goes further and further into the future, now there's nothing left of the Eloi Society. Like, it's as if those people never existed either, you know? And yeah, and it's just like, well, what happened? Like, again, like, well, what happens when I'm gone? What happens when humanity is gone? It's like, you know, what's going to be left behind? What evidence will be here, you know, that we were here? And it's like, well, ultimately, like, there won't be. Like, when the Earth is subsumed by the sun 500 billion years in the future or whatever, there won't be any evidence that humans were here. There won't be any evidence that, like, Earth was here and that like, you know, things mattered here. And it's like, fuck, you know? And this guy, this time traveling bro, experienced like this sort of shit like firsthand in this novel. Just like gazing up at the endless sky of orange. It's like, fuck, man. These are some like heady stuff just to put right at the end of this weird time travel story, you know? I think that's what my biggest takeaway from that story was, just the big questions it left me with. Had me thinking a lot. Have to go to work, so you guys have a good day. Wish I could time travel and sleep more. Yeah, I feel that hard. Have a good day, Gavach. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, that's The Time Machine. It's 100 pages. I recommend giving it a flick through. It's a good book. Well written too. Like I'm noticing, like I'm mostly like reading like older fiction. Like 1984 was written in 1949. This was written in like 1895. I thought, like, you know, reading older fiction, like the prose would be like really dense and hard to grapple with. I'm finding like a lot of these like books really readable, which is really nice. Like, I don't think the English language in terms of delivery has evolved a whole lot in the past 100 years. So you can pretty much read anything, you know. A bit of Edgar Allan Poe's stuff, a bit older. Some of it's a bit harder to read, but still pretty manageable, in all honesty. His stuff is actually really interesting. I really like his writing style. Just like the moment-to-moment writing. I find it fascinating because that question, to an extent, gives a good look into what drives people. Everything from, say, having kids to making art is in a way to keep some semblance of themselves alive, and the idea that the universe just doesn't care is fitting and definitely an existential topic. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to sort of grapple with, I think, as well. You know, we kind of distract ourselves from these big questions by like making art or having children, or like, you know, distract ourselves from the fact that, you know, end is inevitable. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool to like explore like these ideas and these feelings through art, you know? I think that's one of the biggest strengths of art, is like being able to grapple with such like, you know, difficult to grapple with concepts in like a safe place sort of thing. And be able to like, you know, provide some sort of perspective instead of just like dwelling in the existentialist dread of it, you know? Art's cool, man. Fucking... That kind of sucked. So yeah, that's all the books I've read this these past couple months, except for this one. I'm reading it. I'm only a fraction of the way through. Like 80 pages out of like 1100 or something. Oh, and that Ben Elton one that I read 100 pages of, that was really bad. That's on the floor. I guess I just go through my pickups real quick. I've picked up just a couple. I'm not sure if in the previous stream where I did my book pickups, I showed this one. I'm not sure if I had it or not, but if I did, sorry. This is This is Tolstoy's Childhood, Boyhood, Youth. I picked it up at like a flea market. $8, I think. Yeah. It's like, oh, old book. I know that author. That's cool. So I picked it up. I picked up Philip K. Dick's Ubik. I don't know how to say it. I read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the inspiration for Blade Runner. That was like the first book I read like recently, like that got me back into reading. So I was like, hey, here's another one of his works. I like Electric Sheep. I'll pick up this one. I have no idea what it's about. I really liked 1984, so I picked up Animal Farm. This is much shorter. I've heard like, you know, things about it. I'm looking forward to going through this. And then I also picked up Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. I have like a list of political science and political theory stuff I want to read. 1984 and this were like on that list. So I want to read through this. I was going to pick up his The Doors of Perception, because that's what the name of one of my favorite bands, The Doors. That's where they got their name from. I wanted to pick that up, but I picked up this one instead because it's like, well, I should probably read this, and I don't have much money. So that's all my books. Whoa. Book talk is over, I guess now. Have I played Blood Omen? I want to say... No, I haven't played it yet. I have it on my PS1, my cool X-Station PS1. Oh, I'm not... Yeah, there we go. I haven't played it yet, but I do want to. I really want to get a small CRT in here so I can just have my PS1 set up in here and play... Just play a fuck ton of PS1, because that's just all I want to do lately. But... yeah, I haven't played it yet. Kind of surprised that like you went through the whole thing. Like you chose that game specifically. Like, I don't know. I don't take you for someone who plays like a bunch of like really old games like that. You mostly play like small indie stuff. Zeke about to play the worst version to get the OG experience? Naturally. Well, it was the first version released, right? That's why I'm playing it. Oh no, this is gonna suck. We're trying to get into certain kinds of old games. That's fair. Ones I think I can tolerate. I think they're all cool. Except the bad ones. Playing this mission without voices sucks. Whatever. I'm not here to play the game. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. I did see that comment earlier. I totally forgot to respond to it. I will when I get a free second, sorry. The reason I chose Blood Omen was I was playtesting. Well, fuck, I'm sorry. I will respond in time. Oh. Go away, don't make me shoot you. Well, didn't take any damage. That's nice. Bro. There we go. Cool. The reason I chose Blood Omen was I was playing some Soul Reaver 2 for testing reasons. I was like, fuck, I gotta play these games. Yeah, like the whole series has always seemed really cool to me, so. I feel like I should go play Blood Omen anyway. I thought you did play Blood Omen. Oh, play it again. Right, sorry. Always shy reposting questions. I am too, like in other people's streams or whatever. And I get it. And for me personally, like as the streamer, it's like I do often like just ignore comments or like questions that I think I feel like, you know, maybe wasn't put like a lot of thought into, or I'm just not going to dignify it with a response sort of thing. But sometimes I just genuinely like miss a comment or whatever. But yeah, what do you think about the role of violent protest in modern society? Because I feel there's a lot of subtle propaganda on social media against it. Don't answer if you got tired. No, it's fine. I'm happy to. Man, I'm not like a political scientist, so nor am I like a political historian, so I can't really go into detail about like the history of violent struggle and violent protest. It's obviously like, you know, led to myriad positive changes in the world, like the weekend, you know, like, but like violence as a tool And I'm not sure I have the knowledge or foresight to know when is and is not appropriate to utilize it as a tool, if you know what I mean. I'm sure there's like plenty of oh, I still don't have any health. I'm sure there's, like, I know for a fact there's plenty of situations and contexts where violent struggle is 100% like necessary, right? I just don't really know where that is. And sometimes when like looking at like situations like after the fact, it's hard to determine sometimes whether or not it was like the best strategy, you know? Because like, again, like like violence like through protest, that is like, it's strategy, you know? Hypothetically, of course. I don't actually condone any violence of any kind. All I will say is I hate what social media has done to real life politic. You know, like people look at any sort of protest, any sort of struggle, and it just becomes all a fucking joke. Like, not only like they make memes about it, it's just like to take an example with a recent example with Aaron Bushnell, who self-immolated recently outside the Israeli embassy in the US to protest the ongoing genocide of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. I think he's a brave guy. I don't know if brave is exactly the right word. Obviously very committed. And I respect the fuck out of him for, like, you know, going through and doing something he felt was necessary, you know. At the same time, it's like, well, the goal of like that sort of action really is just to get like to bring attention to like a specific thing, and it's like this current conflict is like already has like a fuck ton of attention on it, which, like, I'm not trying to downplay like what he's done or anything. My real concern is like things like this sort of protest or martyrdom in general, I guess. I don't think he's a martyr or whatever, but what immediately happens is just like dumb fucks online just like take what he did completely out of context or twist what he was trying to do or character assassinate or blah blah blah. It's just an endless stream of just like, we can't just like have things like statements stand on their own. And I don't think this is anything new, but I think social media's role in this has just been like to like amplify like the muddying of a message, you know what I mean? Man, I don't think I'm as coherent as I was talking about 1984. Point is, fuck cops, I guess. the ultimate instigator of political violence, the state and police. They seem to think political violence is okay, but when people who just want food do it, no. Yeah, I'm tired. And it's really hot in here. What am I doing? I'm gonna go seal piece. You watch the very slow and subtle transition from a jumpy Wahoo streamer to reading fucking Marx and Malatesta on stream. It'll be so subtle you won't even notice. Man, 3 hours. Alright. Oh, let's go. It's so easy. News on the ideas behind the Jack mod. We hit a bit of a breakthrough with Jack 3's combat. That was something that we were struggling with a lot. We think we know the direction that we want to take it. I think that's about the most progress we've made so lately. We really got to get back to Jack 1. that's the recurring theme of these Jack projects. Man, we really got to get back to Jack 1. Oh, I'm so excited for Jack 3. It's gonna be so good when it's like fully realized. It's a lot of work though. Oh no. Oh no. Eh. Smooth. Oh no! Okay. Is it possible to play with other characters? Like Ashlyn has her sets of unique rolls and dodges. I doubt it. Like, I don't doubt that, like, in the future, that sort of stuff could be modded in. Like, even something as very rudimentary as, like, okay, press this button and this animation will play. But I don't... It seems like a really difficult thing to do. Like, these games are very much built on Jack, you know? I guess you take control of Daxter in 2 and 3. I don't know. I suck. Posted the thing I was going to say about Blood Omen Streams channel. Okay, I won't read it, but thank you. Okay, yeah, I will ignore. Thank you. See, like, the thing I like to do most with games is know extremely little about it. Just know that it sounds and looks cool, you know? And then play it like years after the fact, like years after finding out about it. And just being totally surprised, you know? That's what I love. It feels like a discovery, you know? Like, man, this is so cool. And it's like, oh man. Oh man. I could sit here for another like 3 hours and show you all the cool weird PS1 games I've been documenting the past couple days, just going through my Twitter bookmarks and writing them all down. I can't wait to get like a small CRT in here so I can just play my PS1. I just want to play my PS1. Oh, I hate that it's out in the lounge room. I saw an obscure PS2 game in the list you've posted I heard of. Wait, which one? I don't have many PS2 games in that. Hanjuku Hero 4? 7 Nin no Hanjoku Hero? That one? Mr. Mosquito 2. You've probably heard of that one. Or Hungry Ghosts. They're the only PS2 games I see there. Pretty sure. Yeah. I also like started writing a separate list of visual novels I want to play, and there was a weird PS2 one there with mechs and stuff. Giant Citizen Kabuto. Oh, I do remember writing that. I don't... Is that PS2? Oh no, that's PC. It might have come out on PS2, I don't know. Wait, I can't remember what that looks like. I need to bring up the screenshot. Oh yes, this one, okay. So not only did I write down all of those games, I saved the screenshots that were in the tweets. So I have visual reference as well. You know, just like literally, just have a single screenshot of a game and the name. That's it. That's all I need. Okay, I'll write it down and revisit it in 7 years, and then be blown away. That's all I need. That is my preferred method of finding new games to play. Feel free to emulate. And then emulate those games. Piracy is praxis. Oh, this is the bad mission. Oh no. No, not yet. The next one is a bad mission. Don't know many weird PS1 games? You haven't lived, my friend. Do yourself a favor. Go play No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. That's like only scratching the surface. And I can tell it's only scratching the surface because it wasn't a Japanese exclusive. God, the PS1 is some weird stuff. Like, there's a game called Burger Burger. It's a hamburger simulator. You make burgers. That's so cool. I want to play that. I didn't even get that orb. Whatever. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna collect the orbs in this level, and then I'm gonna call it. My ass is hurting. My view count is dropping, and my tummy's grumbling. Now I have an ice cream to eat. Yeah. Oh, alright. Well, this will be a good first mission for the next stream. Woo. I've got to remember that I'm playing on save file 3. And I won't skip it, I guess. I've got to remember to play this save file at all. I mean, I play this game at all. Oh, man. Really like the stream, so yeah, well, thanks for sticking around, Soitsu. I enjoyed your contributions in chat. You're a cool person. I'll forgive the Yu-Gi-Oh profile pic. We can't all be perfect. Alright, well, thanks for stopping by, everyone who's left. See ya, save file 3. Thanks, Martian. I will see you all later. Bye-bye.